In this video, I'm continuing my playthrough of Axis Empires, and we are up to the autumn season of 1941. So that starts out in August and September combined, and we're going to start on the Totaler Krieg map in Europe. So we start with the Axis revealing a new strategy, and I went with the historical one, which is Operation Typhoon. And there's a historical note on the card from Adolf, which says, get started on the Central Front within 8 to 10 days. Encircle them, beat them, and destroy them. So I don't have a picture for this, but Army Group Center makes a concerted effort to conquer Moscow, and in so doing, the Luftwaffe suffers heavy losses, and both sides suffer attritional losses, but the Russian fortifications hold up. Both Tula and Kharkov do fall in the face of heavy German panzer attacks, but the attacks to the south all stall. Of course, we've gotten entangled in Greece, so the German army continues their attack, and they make some progress, but it is severely under strength there for the task at hand. Then we go to the Western Allies strategy. They play Lend-Lease to allies. So now Western resources are going to be sent to Russia or the USSR via the Arctic Sea, the Persian Gulf, and the Bering Strait. And the Western Lend-Lease marker is put in the delay box. Then Britain is allowed to deploy one armor and one infantry unit to the map, which they do. And then I have the Commonwealth forces maneuver in the Libyan desert. I don't have a picture for any of this. It's really not too significant. Then we go to the Soviet Union strategy, and they play the strategy Relocate War Industries. Again, that's a historical play, and there's a note on the card. It's a quote from Joseph Stalin. There are no Russian prisoners of war, only traitors. So that's quite harsh, isn't it? Well, over 1,500 major industrial plants are evacuated to the Urals, to Siberia, and to Central Asia to protect them from the Blitzkrieg. And the Soviet Union adds the 2nd Baltic, the 2nd Belarusia, and the 2nd Ukraine headquarters all to the delay box, and they'll be able to build those later. And then during the replacements segment, 1 tank and 21 infantry units are deployed to the map. Then during the political events segment, the Soviet Union rolls on the political table and they get the conference table. This takes them to military aid. So they are able to rebuild some of their defensive positions and reinforce Moscow. Now we're going to go over to the Pacific map and see what happens over there. It's still August and September of 1941, and the Japanese reveal a new strategy, change of government. And in this event, Tojo forms a new government and prepares for war. Japan is able to build 4 new armies, and they mobilize 6 replacement steps. And some of these troops are transported to Indochina, where they have control there. And then the Japanese army attacks the Chinese nationalists again along the rail line near Wuhan. This is where all of the attacking has been. And although the city is defended well, the Chinese do suffer heavy casualties. I don't have a current picture of this, so what you're seeing is the latest picture of the action over here. And of course, we have a picture here of Tojo. Then we go to the Western Allies, and they hold the Riviera Conference in Newfoundland. And that's the strategy that they use. And you can see Churchill and FDR are in conference over what they're going to do. The Commonwealth add 2 Indian units, which are mobilized, and then the Allies consult the strategy board on the political table, and the result is conflicting plans. But the nationalist Chinese add replacements. Then we go to the Soviet Union, and their strategy is War Progress 1. This matches what was happening in the European map, where 1,500 major industrial plants are evacuated to the Urals, Siberia, and Central Asia. And on the Pacific map, the Soviets add replacements to their Far East Army. And that really wraps up the August and September turn of 1941. So we're going to continue with September and October of 41 by going back over to the European map. The Germans continue their offensive toward Moscow, but the combat there devolves into an exchange, so no ground is gained, it's just attrition. Of course, I've got mud conditions, and these are severely inhibiting the combat, particularly the offensive combat. And there's no air support, so that makes it more difficult. The attacks in the south this time are a little bit more successful, but it's still nothing to write home about. And then the fighting in Greece has whittled down to a stalemate, so that's really going to be an ulcer for the German army. Then we go to the Western Allies, and the British commander works on his positioning in North Africa, which appears very strong right now, although the Germans have not reinforced that theater yet. Then the Soviet Union reorganizes some of their units in Moscow, and the city is looking like it's going to hold through the winter, which is what happened historically. So we'll see how that ends up turning out. But that brings the October 1941 turn in Europe to an end, but now we're going to go to September, October 1941 in the Pacific. And I'll just say the Japanese commander is starting to get fatigued with the attritional frontal attacks on the railroad near Wuhan. Nonetheless, the 1st and 12th Chinese armies attack, and the nationalists are defending this position anyway, and it's the same thing again. There's attrition. The Chinese lose some forces, but they hold on to the city and they maintain their defensive position. The Western Allies are rolling dice on their Riviera Conference table, and they get the strategy board, and this results in neutrals pressured. And then finally, the Soviet Union continues with their war production. But that pretty much brings an end to the action in the autumn of 1941. So I'd like to thank you for watching, and stay tuned if you'd like to see what happens in the winter months of 1941. Have a great day.